stars glimmer in the cold void of space, their flickering light casting shadows across the desolate reaches of the galaxy. Far beyond the ever-present gaze of the Imperium, a lone craft drifts in the dark. An Aeldari vessel, ancient and sleek, bearing the silent weight of its history. Within its hull, a lone figure, an outcast, waits. Cast aside from a once proud race, this Aeldari's story is one of survival, betrayal, and the harsh reality of what it means to live when your people have abandoned you. In a universe where survival often requires sacrifice, what does it mean to be an Aeldari outcast? To be severed from the webway and cast adrift, with nothing but the remnants of a shattered culture to hold on to? For this outcast, the galaxy is not just a battleground, it's a canvas for reinvention. Every corner of it offers a reminder of a fractured past, and the price of one's survival. There are no easy answers in this world, and no safe havens from the endless conflicts that rage across it. The Imperium, the Orcs, the Tyranids, all relentless forces in their own right, each threatening to tear down the fragile hope that remains. But it is not the external forces alone that weigh the heaviest. The question remains: can you live in a galaxy that seems determined to destroy you? Can you find redemption when your very existence is an act of rebellion? Before we dive deeper into this story, if you feel the pull of the cosmos and wish to learn more about the harrowing paths of outcasts, the secrets of the Eldar, and the endless struggle for survival in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You'll want to keep the flame alive as we embark on this journey through the stars. The silence of space is suffocating, a deep, unyielding void that presses in from all sides, swallowing sound and light alike. Inside the hollowed ancient vessel of the Aeldari, the hum of its engines is a mere whisper against the cold, silent expanse outside. The craft drifts through the stars, a relic of a dying race, carrying with it the weight of a shattered civilization. It is not a warship nor a sanctuary, but a tomb, one that pulses with the faint, lingering memories of a people long lost to time. Within this forsaken vessel, an Aeldari outcast stands at the prow, gazing out into the void. The stars shine coldly, indifferent to the figure that watches them from afar, adrift and alone. Their pale skin glows faintly in the dim light of the control panel, but their eyes once full of the pride and wisdom of an ancient race, are now empty. They are haunted, drawn into a place between the past and the future, where neither can offer solace. There is only the now, the unyielding present. The whispers of the warp stir in the corners of their mind. They are familiar now, these voices. For years, the outcast has lived in the shadow of their ancestors' greatness, haunted by their downfall, cursed to wander the galaxy as an exile. The Eldar, once proud and majestic, now exist only in the fragile memories of a broken race, scattered across the stars, clinging to the remnants of their past. The webway that once connected their people is severed, a thread broken forever, and with it, their unity. The outcast's hands grip the controls with the same force they would use to cling to sanity. The memories of the fall still burn like a fresh wound, an image burned into the mind's eye. The mighty Eldar Empire, once a shining beacon of civilization, shattered in a single moment of indulgence. The gods had abandoned them, leaving only the chaos that tore through their hearts. The once proud race, now reduced to a few scattered remnants, fractured and broken. For the Aeldari, the consequences of their actions were unforgiving. The beauty of their civilization, their art, their science, all turned to dust. They had reached the zenith of their power, only to fall into decadence, unable to see the impending doom until it was too late. The souls of their people, caught in the web of the warp, were devoured by Slaanesh, the dark prince of chaos, leaving nothing but a void. The Outcast's people had seen it all, and now there was only the quiet suffering of survival. In this emptiness, the Outcast feels the sharp sting of betrayal. They had once stood with their kin, part of something greater, something eternal. But that eternity was shattered the moment the Aeldari's ambition became their undoing. Their minds had been too brilliant, their ambitions too grand, and their sense of invulnerability too absolute. They had dismissed the warnings, ignored the omens, and now, as a lone survivor, the price of their arrogance is all too clear. The Outcast's lips move in silent prayer, a ritual passed down from those who had taught them long ago. It is a prayer of remembrance, a plea to the forgotten gods of their race to guide them in their exile. The path ahead is uncertain, a maze of dangers and unknowns. But the Outcast knows this. The galaxy is vast, and in its vastness, there are still secrets to be uncovered, still ways to survive. It is not the end, but a new beginning, one that could be shaped by the will of a single soul. The craft drifts onward, leaving behind the fading echoes of a once great civilization. Yet in the silence, the Outcast knows they are not truly alone. The past haunts every corner, the weight of lost kin, and the undying need for redemption lingering like a shadow. The void outside may be unyielding, but the Aeldari's spirit is far from broken. Survival, after all, is the one thing even the galaxy cannot take from them. The stars stretch out before the Outcast like an endless sea of cold light. Each pinprick in the darkness is a reminder of the infinite expanse that once belonged to their people, a vast, interconnected empire that now lies in ruins, scattered across the galaxy. The Aeldari were not meant to be a race of wanderers. They were born to create, to shape, to conquer, to know the universe as no other could. Yet in the wake of their downfall, they were condemned to be ghosts, their stories fading as dust. The hum of the ship's engines fills the silence once again, a low and rhythmic sound that almost feels like a heartbeat. But it is a heartbeat without life. The Outcast stands motionless at the controls, staring into the stars, seeking some glimmer of hope in the emptiness. Their eyes, once filled with the light of intellect and ambition, now reflect only the weight of solitude. There are no voices here, no grand halls filled with debate or laughter, no comrades to share the burden. There is only the endless journey, from one forgotten corner of the galaxy to the next. A sudden shift in the ship sensors catches their attention. The faintest tremor ripples through the fabric of reality, and the Outcast's hand instinctively reaches for the console. Their fingers move with practiced precision, pulling up the data streams, analyzing the signals. There is something out there, a presence, distant yet palpable. It's not a ship, not a fleet, but a disturbance. A ripple through the void, a flicker in the cosmic fabric. The Aeldari senses it with a gut-deep certainty, the feeling that they are not alone. The Outcast's mind races. It could be another remnant of the Imperium, a fleet on patrol. Or perhaps it is something far more dangerous, a Necron tomb world awakening, or a wandering orc raiding party looking for prey. The possibilities are endless, and none of them are good. Still, they cannot help but feel a surge of excitement. This disruption, this unknown presence, is a sign that the galaxy is alive with movement, and that movement could mean change. For too long, they have drifted, isolated and alone, imprisoned in the wreckage of a past that refuses to die. But in this moment, the outcast feels a glimmer of hope. The world is still turning. The fight, it seems, is far from over. As the ship begins to adjust course, the outcast can feel the weight of the decision pressing down on them. This could be a trap, a dangerous game played by forces far beyond their understanding. But it could also be the opportunity they have been waiting for, the chance to prove that even in exile, even in the face of unimaginable odds, an Aeldari can still carve out a place in the galaxy. It is a dangerous thought, but it is a thought they can no longer ignore. The craft's engines roar louder as it begins to power forward, cutting through the void. Each moment brings them closer to the unknown, closer to the mystery that pulses at the edge of their awareness. The outcast's breath is shallow, heart racing as they navigate the controls. The stars outside seem to blur, becoming streaks of light as the ship accelerates. But in their mind, the darkness holds something more, something waiting, watching, biding its time. This is the price of survival. The outcast knows. It is not just about staying alive, but about finding meaning in a universe that has long since forgotten the Aeldari's place. They have no home, no kin. But perhaps, just perhaps, they can find something more. Something that will allow them to reclaim a small fragment of the past. Something that will ignite the flickering embers of hope that still burn deep within their soul. The ship surges forward, its course set for the unknown. The outcast's hands are steady on the controls, their mind focused on the path ahead. There is no turning back now. The craft glides through the cosmos, its hull cutting silently through the void like a forgotten dagger. The stars seem to fall away as the outcast pushes the ship to its limits, the trembling hum of the engines vibrating through the cockpit, a rhythm that is both familiar and unsettling. Every light outside seems to bend and stretch as the vessel accelerates into the unknown, drawn inexorably toward the presence that has disturbed the stillness of their journey. The outcast leans closer to the controls, their pale fingers steady despite the rising tension. The unfamiliar signals continue to pulse through the ship's sensors, faint but persistent. A flicker of energy, a sign of something larger, something more dangerous lurking out there in the dark. With every passing second, the sensation grows stronger, more urgent. It feels like the galaxy is holding its breath, waiting for the moment when everything changes. And yet, the outcast feels an uneasy pull in their chest. What if this is a trap? What if, in seeking the unknown, they are merely walking into the jaws of fate? For the Aeldari, fate has never been kind. Once, the race had woven their destinies through the webway, a vast network of interconnected paths that allowed them to travel between realms in an instant. It was their great triumph, the pinnacle of their civilization, until the day they reached too far. The moment of the fall, when their desires and passions unraveled their entire race in one cataclysmic instant. The Aeldari had thought themselves invincible, masters of the stars, builders of empires. Yet their hubris had brought about their undoing, leaving them scattered across the galaxy like fragments of a broken dream. Now, alone and adrift, the outcast is a living reminder of that fallibility. Exiled from the proud halls of their people, they are but a shadow in the endless night. The memories of their lost kin are all they have left, and even those are fading, slipping away like sand through their fingers. Their people had been consumed by their own arrogance, their sense of superiority burning too brightly until it collapsed into nothingness. Now they are mere ghosts, their souls devoured by Slaanesh, the dark prince of chaos. The ship's engines hum louder, and a sudden pulse of energy erupts from the sensors. The outcast's eyes narrow, focusing intently on the data stream. The source of the disturbance is drawing closer, the ripple in the fabric of reality expanding. The feeling of presence grows stronger, sharper, almost tangible. It's coming from a nearby asteroid field, its jagged rocks floating in the darkness like the bones of some ancient creature long dead. Without hesitation, the outcast adjusts the controls, steering the craft toward the field. The ship maneuvers through the debris, the massive rocks sliding past like silent sentinels. The stars outside are mere dots, swallowed by the dense darkness surrounding them. The craft weaves through the asteroid field, the ship's hull groaning with each turn, but it holds steady. Then, as if summoned by the outcast's resolve, the signal flares brighter. The source of the disturbance is within reach. A ship, barely visible against the backdrop of the asteroid field, emerges from the darkness. Its form is unfamiliar, but the faint glow of its lights reflects off the jagged asteroids like a beacon. The outcast's breath catches in their throat. It is a craft, unmistakably, but not one they have ever seen before. This vessel is ancient, its surface pockmarked with the scars of battle. There is no mistaking its significance. It is an Aeldari ship, or at least it was long ago. The markings are faded, but still visible, a sign of their kind. For a moment, the outcast is frozen in place, the weight of their people's legacy pressing down on them like a crushing wave. How long had it been since they saw a reminder of their people? Without fully understanding why, the outcast feels a strange pang of recognition. This ship, this relic of a once great civilization, is an echo of the past. Perhaps it is not the answer to their questions, but it is a clue, a sign that even in exile, even in the most desolate corners of the galaxy, their people have left their mark. The ship's engines roar as the outcast accelerates toward the ancient craft. The distant hum of the Aeldari vessel beckons, its mystery drawing them in like a moth to flame. The past is never truly gone, it seems. It lingers, waiting, perhaps in the most unexpected places. As the distance closes, the outcast's mind races. This could be an opportunity, a way forward, a path that will lead them to answers. Or it could be a dead end, another reminder of their race's fall from grace. But whatever it is, the outcast knows that there is no turning back now. The stars, the ship, the galaxy itself, they are all within their grasp. And in the silence of space, they find the will to push forward. The ship approaches the ancient vessel with a slow, deliberate grace, its silhouette now distinct against the field of asteroids. The craft's exterior, battered and worn, tells a tale of countless years in the void, drifting aimlessly, forgotten by time. Its hull bears the scars of past battles, deep gouges and dents where weapons fire had once raked its surface, now only faint impressions of the violence that had once consumed it. But even in its ruin, There is something hauntingly beautiful about the vessel, a remnant of an era when the Aeldari ruled the stars with a power unmatched. The Outcast slows their craft, bringing it closer to the derelict ship, their hands steady on the controls. They can feel the hum of their own ship's engines, a rhythmic pulse, steady and sure, as if it too is drawn to this ancient relic. The closer they get, the more the Outcast's thoughts swirl, caught between the anticipation of discovery and the fear of what might lie ahead. They had come seeking answers, but now, standing on the precipice of their past, they wonder, what if the truth is more than they can bear? The comms system crackles to life, the static sharp against the silence of space. The Outcast tenses, instinctively reaching for the console, their heart racing. The voice that echoes through the speakers is unfamiliar, distorted by the distance and the interference from the asteroid field. It's a harsh, guttural sound, one that cuts through the Outcast's mind like a blade. Who dares approach the Wraithbone? The words are spoken in the ancient tongue of the Aeldari, a language laced with power and mystery, but they carry a coldness that chills the Outcast to their core. It is a question, but one laced with suspicion, even hostility. The Outcast hesitates, the enormity of the moment crashing down on them. The Wraithbone. It is a name they know well, a name that has been whispered among the remnants of their kind for generations. It is said to be a ship of legend, a lost vessel from the golden days of the Aeldari. But whether it is truly a myth or reality, no one can say. The Outcast's voice cracks as they respond, the weight of their people's history pressing on their chest. I am Aeldari, a survivor. I come seeking a way forward. There is a long pause, a stretch of silence that feels interminable. The tension in the air thickens, wrapping around the Outcast like a shroud. Then the voice on the other end crackles again, this time softer, almost sorrowful. Survivor? We are all survivors in this place, lost between the stars, bound to the past. You seek what? A return to the light? A chance for redemption? The words strike deep, sharper than the Outcast expected. They do not seek redemption, not in the way others might understand it. Redemption, in the eyes of the galaxy, would mean the restoration of what was lost, a return to the power and glory of the Aeldari race. But for the Outcast, redemption means survival, not glory. It means finding meaning in the ruins, not trying to reclaim something that is beyond reach. I seek only knowledge, the Outcast says, their voice steadier now. The truth of what remains, the truth of what was lost, and perhaps the way forward. There is another pause, longer this time, as if the voice on the other end is weighing the Outcast's words. When it comes again, it is softer still, laced with an undertone of sorrow, regret, and perhaps something else, something ancient, something that the Outcast cannot name. Then you have come to the right place, Outcast, but know this, the truth is not a gift, it is a burden, and it will cost you more than you can imagine. The comms cut off, the static dissipating into silence once more. The Outcast stares at the screen, their pulse quickening. The words linger in the air, heavy and foreboding. The truth is never simple. They know this all too well. The galaxy is full of lies, half-truths, and illusions. And yet, they cannot turn away. They have come too far, pushed too deep into the unknown to turn back now. The cost of knowing, whatever it may be, is a price they are willing to pay. With a deep breath, the Outcast shifts the ship's trajectory, aligning it with the Wraithbone's docking bay. As the ship approaches, the Outcast's mind races with questions, doubts, and fears. What is this place? Who are these survivors? And what price will they demand for the knowledge they possess? The docking bay door opens with a low, grinding sound, and the ship eases into the shadowed interior of the Wraithbone. The moment the ship touches down, the Outcast's heart races, the weight of what comes next settling heavily upon them. This is the first step on a new path, one that may lead to answers, or to a deeper abyss. The ancient ship looms before them, silent and waiting, its secrets buried deep within the Wraithbone. The Outcast knows they must step forward. There is no turning back now. The docking bay is shrouded in darkness, the faintest light flickering from overhead, casting long shadows across the cold, metallic floor. As the Outcast's ship settles into place, the sound of the engines ceases, leaving behind an eerie stillness that presses in from every corner. The air inside the bay smells ancient, tinged with the faintest scent of ozone and decay. The Outcast's senses heighten, every creak of the ship's hull and every whisper of the wind outside sounding unnervingly loud in the silence. The craft's hatch opens slowly, revealing the interior of the Wraithbone. It is not what the Outcast expected. The walls of the ship are not metal, but rather a strange, bone-like substance, smooth and organic. The Wraithbone is alive. In a sense, its very structure pulsating with an ancient energy. There is a hum to the air, a low, resonant sound that seems to come from within the walls themselves. It is a feeling that stirs something deep within the Outcast. A strange sense of recognition, as though they are stepping into the heart of something that once beat alongside their own. The Outcast hesitates for only a moment before stepping forward. The floor beneath their feet is uneven, and the faint glow of bioluminescent veins running through the walls illuminates their path as they move deeper into the ship. Their footsteps echo in the empty halls, a stark reminder that they are alone in this place. At least for now. The silence here is all-encompassing, broken only by the hum of the ship's inner workings, the sound of its pulse. It is like walking through the ruins of a forgotten world, one that has been lost to time, yet still clings to life. They move forward cautiously, drawn by the strange pull of the ship's energy, their mind racing with questions. What had happened here? Who or what had once inhabited this vessel? The Outcast had thought they were alone, but now, with every step, they feel the weight of something ancient and powerful pressing in on them. It is as if the ship itself is alive, watching them, waiting. A distant sound, a faint scraping of metal against bone, draws the Outcast's attention. They stop, their hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of the blade at their side, the familiar weight offering a sense of security. The sound grows louder, closer, and the Outcast's breath catches in their throat. The footsteps echo in the distance, rhythmic and deliberate. Someone, or something, is coming. The tension in the air is palpable, thick enough to feel. The Outcast stands frozen, every sense on high alert. The footsteps draw nearer, and just as they reach the corner ahead, the figure steps into view. It is Aeldari, but not like the Outcast. This figure is clad in tattered robes, their face obscured by a hood that casts shadows over their features. Their movements are slow, deliberate, as though each step is taken with a deep, measured purpose. The Outcast watches intently, their eyes narrowing. The figure stops a few paces away, and for a long moment, neither of them moves. The air between them is charged, filled with an unspoken understanding, as if the very presence of the figure confirms what the outcast has already suspected. They are not alone. The figure speaks, their voice soft but firm, echoing through the empty corridors. "You have come seeking answers, outcast, but be warned, they are not freely given." The words carry a weight, a warning. The outcast opens their mouth to speak, but stops themselves. What could they say? What could they ask? They had come here seeking knowledge, but now that it was within reach, the reality of what that might mean is more daunting than they could have imagined. The figure's eyes, glowing faintly beneath the hood, meet the outcast's. "The truth you seek is buried deep within the heart of this ship, but it will cost you. Knowledge in this place is not without its price." The outcast takes a step forward, their voice low and steady. "I have already paid the price of survival. What is left to lose?" The figure tilts their head slightly, as though considering the outcast's words. "Survival is not enough. You must decide whether you are willing to pay more than you already have. The Wraithbone holds many secrets, some better left undisturbed. Some of those secrets may not be the answers you wish to find." The warning hangs in the air, heavy with meaning, but the outcast is resolute. They have come too far to turn back now. "I will take that risk." The figure nods slowly, as if accepting the outcast's resolve. "Then come. The path ahead is not for the faint of heart, but you are not the first to seek the heart of the Wraithbone. Others have come before you, and many have not returned." With a wave of the figure's hand, the shadows seem to part, revealing a narrow passageway leading deeper into the ship. The outcast's heart quickens, their hand tightening around their blade as they follow the figure. There is no turning back. The past, the future, and the unknown all converge here, in the heart of the Wraithbone. The door closes behind them with a soft click, and the outcast is plunged into the depths of a mystery that may unravel everything they thought they knew about themselves, their people, and their place in the galaxy. The passage through the heart of the Wraithbone is narrow, winding like the veins of a living creature. The walls pulse gently, responding to the presence of the outcast as they walk behind the cloaked figure, their steps echoing softly in the thick silence. The ship seems to breathe, the very air around them heavy with ancient energy. It's a strange sensation, as if the walls themselves remember, holding within them the echoes of a long-forgotten time. The outcast's mind races as they follow the figure deeper into the ship, each step taking them further into the unknown. Their thoughts are a swirl of past and present, the distant memory of their people's fall ever present in their mind. How long had it been since the fall of the Aeldari? Since the day the galaxy had come crashing down around their once proud race? Once, the Aeldari had known no equal. They had built empires across the stars, their civilization a beacon of knowledge and culture. Their mastery over the webway had allowed them to travel between realms, making them the undisputed rulers of the galaxy. But their greatness had led to their undoing. The web they wove to connect their worlds had become their downfall. In their pursuit of knowledge and power, they had indulged in their every desire, unchecked by any moral compass. The gods of chaos had taken notice, and the moment the Aeldari had pushed too far, they had created Slaanesh, the Dark Prince, the god of excess and pleasure, whose hunger devoured the souls of their entire race. The outcast's breath catches in their throat as the memories surge forward, memories of the great fall, the final moments of their people. The day that the entire Aeldari race had been torn asunder, when their souls had been consumed by Slaanesh, leaving only a hollow echo of what had once been. The outcast had been one of the fortunate few, spared from the soul hunger by a twist of fate. But they had not escaped unscathed. They had been cast out, forced to wander the stars alone, exiled from the race that had once been their family. The figure in front of the outcast stops suddenly, and the outcast nearly crashes into them. The figure turns, and for the first time, the hood is pulled back, revealing a face etched with age and wisdom. The eyes that meet the outcasts are sharp, filled with the weight of countless years spent in solitude, hidden away from the world. "You carry the burden of your people's past with you," the figure says softly, their voice quiet, but filled with an unsettling power. It is a heavy burden to bear, but one that cannot be cast aside. The outcast opens their mouth to respond, but the words die on their tongue. What can they say? How can they explain the endless ache of survival, the constant weight of a history that is no longer theirs to claim? "I know," the outcast finally whispers, their voice barely audible. "But what is left for us? What is left for me?" The figure regards them with a knowing look. You are not the first to ask that question, but the answer is not simple. The past may be gone, but the future is not yet written. The truth of what remains lies not in the ruins of your civilization, but in the decisions you make moving forward. The Wraithbone is the last vestige of your people's greatness. What happens within it may shape the fate of your race. The outcast's heart races at the words. Could it be possible? Could this forgotten ship, this relic of their past, hold the key to something greater than survival? The thought sparks a flicker of hope deep within them, but it is quickly extinguished by the harsh reality that has defined their existence for so long. Hope is a dangerous thing, something that often leads only to disappointment. Still, they cannot help but wonder if there is a chance for redemption, for some small piece of their people's legacy to endure. But the outcast knows better than most that such hopes come at a cost. The galaxy does not forgive the weak, nor does it spare those who have fallen from grace. The price of survival is high, and the path to redemption, if such a thing exists, is fraught with danger. The figure turns and continues down the narrow passageway, the outcast falling into step behind them. "Come," the figure says. "There is more to show you. The Wraithbone holds the answers you seek, but only if you are willing to accept the truth that lies within." The ship's corridors grow darker as they continue deeper into the heart of the Wraithbone. The walls pulse with a soft, eerie glow, casting long shadows that seem to stretch unnaturally, twisting and warping as if they are alive. The air grows heavier, thick with the scent of age and decay. It is a place where time itself seems to slow, as though the very ship is frozen in a moment long past. The figure stops again, this time before a massive doorway, its surface covered in intricate patterns of alien design. The door stands as a silent sentinel, its presence commanding reverence. The figure gestures toward it, their voice soft. Behind this door lies the heart of the Wraithbone. It is here that you will find the answers to your questions. But remember, not all answers are kind. The outcast takes a deep breath. the weight of the decision pressing down on them. This is the moment they've been waiting for, the point of no return. They can feel the heavy pull of fate, the sense that whatever lies beyond this door will change everything. The question is, will they be able to bear the weight of the truth? With a final glance at the figure, the outcast steps forward, their heart pounding in their chest. The door slides open with a low groan, revealing the chamber beyond, the heart of the Wraithbone. And there, in the depths of the ship, the outcast will discover more than they could have ever imagined. The chamber beyond the door is unlike any the outcast has ever seen. It is vast, far larger than the ship's corridors had hinted, and it feels as if the very air within is charged with energy. The walls are not mere bone-like wraithbone, but a seamless, glowing network of interwoven filaments, pulsating with a strange, ethereal light. The light shifts in patterns, almost as though the ship is alive, breathing in rhythm with the very heartbeat of the galaxy. It is as if this place, this heart of the Wraithbone, is not simply a ship, but something much older, much more powerful. A living memory of the Aeldari's once great civilization. In the center of the room stands a massive crystalline structure, its facets shimmering with an inner light, casting long shadows that stretch across the room. It is beautiful, alien, and yet unmistakably familiar to the outcast, like something from their own forgotten past. The outcast's breath catches in their throat as they approach it, their footsteps quiet against the smooth floor. The crystal seems to pulse with a gentle power, each beat of light flickering like the pulse of a distant star, both alluring and ominous. "This is the core of the Wraithbone," the figure beside them says softly, their voice now laced with a deep reverence. "It is more than just the ship. It is a part of the web of the Aeldari, a manifestation of our people's collective will. It was once the heart of our empire, the beating pulse of our civilization. Now, it is a relic, a tomb." The outcast stands motionless before the crystal, its glow bathing them in an unsettling light. The air in the chamber feels thick with the weight of history, and they can almost hear the whispers of those who came before them. The ship has been silent for so long, and yet the outcast senses the echo of something greater. Their people's greatness, their brilliance, it all comes rushing back. But along with it, so does the bitter sting of the fall. It is a wound that will never heal, a scar that runs deep within their soul. "I had hoped," the outcast whispers, their voice barely audible, "that there might be something left, something that could restore us, that could restore me." The figure steps closer, their face softening with a hint of sorrow. "Hope is a dangerous thing, outcast, but it is also what keeps us alive. The truth you seek lies in the heart of this place, but remember, the truth is not a balm for your wounds. It will not heal the past, it will only show you what remains." The outcast stares at the crystal, their hands trembling slightly as they reach out, the cool surface of the Wraithbone sending a shiver up their spine. The light from the crystal grows brighter, filling the chamber with a glow that seems to pulse with power, with knowledge, and with something more. It is as if the ship itself is alive, reaching out to the outcast, acknowledging their presence. The crystal hums softly, a sound that resonates deep within their chest, and for a moment, the outcast feels as though the ship is speaking to them, not in words, but in sensations, in whispers that tug at their consciousness. Suddenly, the the crystal shifts. The light around it flickers and flares, and the chamber is filled with the sound of 1,000 voices, all speaking in unison, a haunting chorus of Aeldari from ages long past. The voices rise and fall, a tide of emotion, of regret, of pain. It is the collective memory of a people who no longer exist. The outcast closes their eyes, trying to block out the flood of voices, but it is impossible. They are being pulled into something much larger than themselves, drawn into the echoes of their people's legacy. The voices fade, leaving behind a lingering silence. When the outcast opens their eyes, the crystal is no longer glowing. Instead, it is now an empty shell, its light extinguished. In its place, a vision emerges, a memory, a vision of the past. The outcast sees the splendor of the Aeldari at their height, cities of impossible beauty, the webway stretching across the stars, a civilization unmatched in both wisdom and power. They see the grandeur of their people, their minds sharp, and their hands creating wonders beyond comprehension. But then, as the vision shifts, the glory fades. They witness the indulgence, the decadence, the apathy that led to the fall. The Aeldari had reached for too much, and in doing so, they had created a god, Slaanesh, the god of excess, the god who would devour their souls. The outcast's heart pounds in their chest as they witness the destruction of their people, the screams of the dying, the rending of the webway, the fall of the empire. The vision intensifies, growing more violent, more chaotic, until the Aeldari's entire civilization is consumed in a flash of blinding light. And then, as quickly as it began, the vision ends. The Wraithbone is silent once more. The crystal is just a crystal again, its surface cold and empty. The outcast stumbles back, their breath coming in sharp gasps. They feel as though the very foundation of their being has been shaken. The weight of their people's past presses down on them like a suffocating fog. They had known the story of the fall, of course, but to witness it, to feel the intensity of it, to experience it as though it were happening all over again, it is a burden unlike anything they have ever known. The figure stands beside them, their presence calm and knowing. "You have seen the truth," they say quietly. "The truth of your people's past. It is a burden none can bear lightly. But remember, the past is not the future. What you do with the knowledge you have gained will determine your path forward." The outcast stands still, the weight of the vision pressing on them, but also something else. A flicker of resolve. The past may have shattered their people, but it does not have to define their future. They have come this far, and they will not let the weight of history drag them down. "I will survive," the outcast whispers to themselves, their voice steady. "I will survive, and I will find a way to honor what remains." With those words, they turn away from the crystal, the chamber, and the ghosts of the past. There is more to be done. The galaxy is vast, and even in exile, there is still a place for the Aeldari, and for them. The outcast's footsteps echo softly as they leave the chamber, the weight of the vision still lingering in the back of their mind. Each step feels heavier, the air in the ship now thick with the tension of the past they have just uncovered. The walls around them seem to pulse with an ancient, haunting energy, as if the Wraithbone itself is watching them, waiting for the next move. The outcast's mind is clouded with the fragments of the vision, the images of a golden age, followed by the fiery destruction of their people. They had always known the story of the fall, but to feel it, to experience it firsthand, it is an entirely different matter. They walk through the darkened halls, their senses heightened, as if every sound in the ship is magnified. The stillness of the wraithbone is oppressive, the silence a constant reminder that they are utterly alone in this place. The echoes of the past linger in the air, and the outcast can't help but feel that they are being drawn into something much larger than themselves. A fate that is not just theirs to decide. The galaxy is a vast and unforgiving place, and they are but a single soul adrift in its cold expanse. Yet, despite the heaviness in their chest, a part of them refuses to accept the crushing weight of despair. They had seen the truth, but the truth alone is not enough. It is what comes next that matters. The figure from earlier appears again, as if they had been waiting for the outcast to emerge from the heart of the wraithbone. They stand at the end of the hall, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. There is something ancient in their gaze, something that feels as though it has witnessed countless ages pass by. They step forward, their presence filling the space like a shadow. "You have seen what was," the figure says softly, their voice carrying an edge of quiet certainty. "But do you understand what it means?" The outcast stops, meeting their gaze. There is no fear in their eyes, only the quiet acknowledgement of what they have just experienced. "I understand the past," they reply, their voice steady but tinged with the weight of the knowledge they now carry. But understanding the past does not change what is before us. It only shows us the cost of survival. The figure regards them silently for a moment, as if measuring the weight of the words. Then, with a nod, they speak again. "Indeed, survival is not enough. You seek more than that, do you not? The Aeldari were a people of vision, of creation. Even in the shadow of the fall, we have the potential to rebuild, to forge a new path. But it requires more than mere survival. It requires sacrifice." The outcast feels a tightness in their chest at the mention of sacrifice. It is a word that has haunted them for as long as they can remember. A reminder of the price they have paid to remain alive. To survive the fall, they had given up their place in the world. They had given up their people, their home. And even now, as they stand in the heart of the wraithbone, they feel the cost of that survival weighing on them. "What is the price of this path you speak of?" the outcast asks, their voice quiet, their mind reeling with the implications of the figure's words. "What must I sacrifice to rebuild?" The figure steps closer, their expression unreadable. "You must be willing to let go of everything you think you know. The galaxy is no longer a place for the Aeldari as they once were. We are a shadow of our former selves, adrift in a sea of darkness. But from that darkness, we can create something new. It is not about reclaiming what was lost. It is about forging a future from the ashes of the past." The outcast stands still, the figure's words ringing in their mind. They can feel the weight of the choice pressing down on them, a choice between the remnants of their people's legacy and the unknown future that lies ahead. The past cannot be reclaimed, but the future, that is something they still have the power to shape. It is a bitter realization, one that stirs a mixture of sorrow and hope within them. "I cannot erase what has been," the outcast whispers, "but perhaps I can find a way to honor it." The figure gives a small, knowing smile, their eyes flashing with a glimmer of something almost like approval. "Then you are ready. But remember, this path is not without its challenges. The galaxy will not simply allow you to walk it unopposed. There are forces that would see the Aeldari completely erased from existence. You will face more than just your own doubts. You will face the wrath of those who seek to keep us in the shadows. The outcast meets their gaze, a flicker of determination igniting within them. I will face whatever comes. I have already survived too much to turn back now. The figure nods, their expression softening. Then you must follow the path of the outcast, and in doing so, you may find something far greater than redemption. You may find the strength to change the course of history itself. With those final words, the figure steps back, allowing the outcast a moment of quiet reflection. The words hang in the air, heavy with possibility. The path is clear, but it is not easy. The outcast must face not only the galaxy's challenges, but their own inner turmoil, the legacy of their people's fall, and the difficult truths they have uncovered. The Wraithbone, silent and still, seems to pulse with anticipation, as though awaiting the outcast's next move. And with that, the outcast feels the weight of the future pressing on them as they take the first step, down a path that could lead them to redemption, or to something far darker. The weight of the decision lingers long after the figure's words fade into the silence of the Wraithbone. The air in the chamber still hums with an unspoken promise, a promise of something greater, something to be gained. But that promise is not without its risks, and the outcast knows that the path ahead will not be easy. The figure's words echo in their mind. You will face the wrath of those who seek to keep us in the shadows. The galaxy is vast, filled with enemies both known and unknown, and every step taken will bring them closer to the heart of something far more dangerous than they could imagine. As the outcast stands in the heart of the Wraithbone, the vastness of the galaxy seems to stretch out before them, a cold and uncaring expanse. There are no allies here, only the bitter taste of exile and the sharp sting of loss. And yet, despite the loneliness that threatens to consume them, there is a flicker of something more, something that refuses to be extinguished. Hope, perhaps, or simply the desperate will to survive. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it pushes them forward. But the path they must walk requires more than just will. It requires alliances, and alliances are never simple, especially for an Aeldari outcast. Their people are scattered, their once glorious empire now little more than a fractured memory. To seek help means navigating a galaxy full of dangers, and none are as dangerous as those who once called the outcast kin. The ship hums beneath their feet, a reminder that they are still within the heart of the Wraithbone, but it is no longer the only thing pulling them forward. The outcast knows they must leave this place, step out into the galaxy, and seek those who can help them rebuild. But the question remains, who will answer that call? The Aeldari are few and far between, and even fewer would welcome the outcast back with open arms. There are other factions, however, factions whose interests may align with their own. The thought of an alliance with another race stirs a feeling deep within the outcast's chest, one that is both exhilarating and unsettling. The galaxy is filled with potential allies, but also with enemies. The Imperium of Man, with its unwavering hatred for all Xenos, is an obvious threat. The Orcs, with their endless hunger for war, are always a danger. The Necrons, ancient and unyielding, could prove to be a far more significant force to reckon with than anyone realizes. Yet, even in the midst of these enemies, the outcast knows that there are those who might see value in a partnership, not out of charity, but out of necessity. As the outcast steps out of the chamber, they are met by the figure, their face unreadable beneath their hood. There is no smile, no sense of satisfaction at the outcast's decision to leave the heart of the Wraithbone. Instead, there is only a silent acknowledgement, as if the figure knew that the time for reflection had passed. "You leave with a purpose," the figure says softly. "But you will not walk this path alone. Others will cross it, whether you wish it or not. Some will seek to destroy you. Others may seek to use you." The outcast meets their gaze, a flicker of doubt crossing their features. "And who will I find that can help me? Who would even listen to a castaway like me?" The figure nods solemnly, as though they have heard this question before. "There are many who would offer their hand, but not all will do so out of kindness. The galaxy is a place of power plays, of survival above all else. But there are those who recognize that the Aeldari still have something to offer. The question is whether you are willing to pay the price for their aid." The outcast stands still, considering the words. The galaxy does not offer favors. Every alliance is a transaction, and every favor comes at a cost. But if they are to rebuild, if they are to forge something from the ashes of their people's fall, they will need help, and that help will not come freely. The figure continues, their voice low and steady. "You will need to seek out those who dwell in the shadows. There are mercenaries, smugglers, and pirates who may have a use for you. There are also ancient and secretive factions, some Aeldari, some not, who still possess knowledge of the old ways. You may find allies among them, but they will not be easy to find. They do not show themselves to just anyone." The outcast's heart beats faster. These are not the words of someone offering a safe path, but rather a warning of the dangers that lie ahead. It is a path filled with uncertainty, one where trust is a commodity as rare as water in the desert. And yet, despite the risks, there is no turning back. The galaxy is vast, and it is a place that can either break or remake those who dare to walk its unforgiving roads. "I will find them," the outcast says, their voice firm with resolve. "I will find those who will stand with me. And if I must stand alone, then so be it." The figure nods again, a faint smile playing at the corner of their lips. "Then you are ready. Go now, outcast. The galaxy awaits." With that, the figure turns and walks away, disappearing into the shadows of the Wraithbone. The outcast stands there for a moment, alone once again. The path ahead is uncertain, filled with both opportunity and danger. But they are no longer afraid. They have made their choice, and now they must live with it. The outcast walks towards the ship, their mind racing with the possibilities of what lies ahead. They may have been cast out, but they are not broken. They are not defeated. And if the galaxy is to change, if the Aeldari are to rise again, then it will be up to them to lead the way. The journey through the galaxy is never truly silent. The stars that stretch endlessly in every direction seem to pulse with the weight of history, with the gravity of 1,000 forgotten struggles, 1,000 broken dreams. For the outcast, each sector they pass through is a reminder of what has been lost, of the endless struggle to survive in a universe that cares nothing for the fragile existence of a single soul. But even in the emptiness, something stirs within them. A pull, a sensation that is both haunting and exhilarating. The Wraithbone ship hums beneath their feet as they navigate through the cosmos, its engines cutting through the stars with a precision that speaks of forgotten greatness. The Outcast sits alone in the cockpit, their eyes fixed on the stars as they drift through the dark reaches of space. It is a path that takes them further from the ruins of their people, further from the heart of the Wraithbone. But it is also a path that brings them closer to the unknown. The galaxy is vast, and it is full of secrets that are as old as the stars themselves. But some secrets are not meant to be uncovered, and some paths lead to places where even the bravest dare not tread. The Outcast has felt it, that pull, a sensation that tugs at the edges of their consciousness, something they cannot quite grasp. It is not the cold, unfeeling void of space that calls to them, nor the remnants of their people's legacy. It is something deeper, something older, the warp. The warp is the realm beyond the physical universe, a place where time and space become meaningless. It is a realm of pure emotion, a place where the thoughts and desires of living beings take shape and manifest in terrible, sometimes unfathomable ways. The Aeldari had once known the warp intimately, using its power to shape their civilization, to traverse the stars in the blink of an eye through the webway. But that same power had betrayed them, had given birth to Slaanesh, the chaos god who consumed their souls. And now, the Aeldari are but shadows of their former selves, the warp a reminder of their arrogance, their excess. The Outcast had always been sensitive to the warp. It had been part of their people's gift, the ability to touch the fabric of reality, to shape the world around them with nothing but thought. But for those who had survived the fall, the warp was a dangerous force, a place of temptation and madness. Even now, as they sit alone in the cockpit, the Outcast can feel it, that subtle pull, that whisper at the edges of their mind. It is the warp calling them, drawing them closer. They grip the controls of the ship tighter, as if trying to hold onto something solid in the face of a growing storm. The fabric of reality warps before their eyes, flickering and shifting like a mirage. The stars outside seem to bend and stretch, swirling together in strange, impossible patterns. For a moment, the Outcast can see faces, twisted and contorted, fleeting, images of distant memories. They blink, and the vision vanishes, leaving only the endless blackness of space. But the feeling lingers, a cold weight pressing against their chest, and they know that something is coming, something from the depths of the warp. It is then that the ship's sensors begin to ping, a high-pitched sound that breaks the silence. The Outcast's heart skips a beat, and they quickly pull up the data. The readings are unclear, distorted by the interference of the warp, but there is no mistaking it. Something is approaching. It is massive, its presence a dark blot against the fabric of reality. The Outcast's hands fly across the controls, their mind racing. The presence is growing, moving closer. And it is not alone. They can feel the weight of it, an unnatural presence, something ancient and unknowable. The ship shudders as the disturbance draws closer. The warp is not a place for the faint-hearted, and the Outcast knows that they are teetering on the edge of something far more dangerous than they can comprehend. The pull is stronger now, the pressure of the warp against their skin, the sensation of being caught between two worlds, each one struggling for dominance. Then, in an instant, everything goes dark. The ship's lights flicker out, leaving the Outcast in complete and utter blackness. The hum of the engines dies, and the air grows thick and heavy, like a storm is gathering just outside the hull. The only sound is the beating of their heart, a rapid drum in their ears. "Outcast," a voice whispers, soft and insidious, curling through the darkness like smoke. It is not a voice from the ship, nor is it a voice from the figure who had guided them through the Wraithbone. It is something else, something ancient, something that should not be. The voice is everywhere and nowhere, echoing in the outcast's mind, filling their thoughts with a suffocating presence. It is a voice of the warp, a force beyond comprehension, and it speaks with the authority of the gods themselves. "Outcast," the voice repeats, its tone darker now, laden with ancient power. "You have wandered too far. The webway is closed. The past is lost. The future is mine to shape." The outcast's pulse quickens, their mind racing with fear and confusion. They had felt the pull of the warp. But this is something else. It is not the gentle lure of knowledge or the whisper of forgotten power. This is the voice of the warp itself, a force that devours all in its path. The outcast stumbles back from the controls, their breath coming in shallow gasps. Their hands tremble, and the darkness presses in around them. They can feel the weight of something pressing against their mind, pushing and pulling, trying to break through. It is a struggle, a fight to maintain control, but the pressure is overwhelming. "You cannot escape," the voice hisses, its words wrapping around the outcast's thoughts like chains. "You are mine now. You cannot run. You cannot hide. The warp will consume you, as it has consumed all who came before you." The outcast's heart races, but they know one thing for certain. They cannot allow themselves to succumb to the warp. They cannot let this dark power consume them, as it has consumed so many others before. The outcast grits their teeth, their hands shaking as they reach for the controls once again. The darkness is suffocating, the weight of the warp closing in around them. But they will not give up. They will not surrender to it. With a final, desperate effort, they push the ship's engines to full power. The vessel shudders violently, and the warp's pull begins to fade. The darkness lifts, leaving only the cold silence of space behind. But as the outcast steadies themselves, their mind reeling from the encounter, they know that this is only the beginning. The warp is not easily escaped, and the forces they have just encountered are only a shadow of what lies ahead. The ship drifts back into the cold, familiar expanse of space, the suffocating pressure of the warp lifting from the outcast's chest, but the aftermath lingers. A sense of disquiet fills their mind, like a fog that refuses to dissipate. The encounter with the dark voice from the warp is still fresh in their thoughts, the words echoing through their consciousness. "You are mine now." The chilling certainty in the voice leaves a mark on their soul, one that cannot be easily erased. The outcast shudders, but they do not allow themselves to dwell on it. They have been haunted by worse: their people's fall, the endless years of isolation, and the bitter struggle for survival. This, however, was different. The warp has always been a part of their people's power, their gift and their curse. But to have it reach out like that, to feel its true, insidious pull, it's a reminder that some forces cannot be controlled. And now, the outcast knows they are tethered to it, whether they wish it or not. They shake their head, pushing the thoughts aside, focusing instead on the task at hand. The galaxy still awaits, and there is much left to uncover, much to reclaim. If they are to survive this new encounter with the warp, if they are to find any hope in the endless void, they must continue forward. The ship hums beneath them, the steady rhythm of the engines a calming presence as they reorient themselves toward their course. The sensors flicker, a few remnants of the earlier interference still evident, but the Outcast is used to such anomalies. Their eyes narrow as they scan the data, seeking any signs of movement, any hint of what lies ahead. And then, just as they think the worst has passed, another disturbance ripples across the fabric of reality. This time, the pull of the warp is not so insidious, but it is still there. Faint at first, like the tremor of a distant storm on the horizon. The Outcast feels it, a subtle pressure against their mind, a call that beckons them once, again. It is not as overwhelming as before, but the feeling is unmistakable. Something is out there, something that is both calling them and warning them. The Outcast grits their teeth, their fingers flying across the console, attempting to stabilize the ship's course. They will not fall prey to the warp again. They will not let it dictate their fate. The galaxy is vast, and they still have a place in it, no matter how small, no matter how fractured their people have become. They are not the only one out here in the cold expanse, and while the galaxy is filled with enemies, there are also those who seek the same things. Those who will understand the need for alliances, for power, for survival. Perhaps, in the face of this vast unknown, there are ways to use the warp to their advantage. The disturbance intensifies, a dark ripple running through the very fabric of space. The Outcast's eyes widen as the readings begin to show a more distinct shape, something larger than just a presence. It's a ship, a vessel of some kind, one that stands out even in the fading light of the stars. Its structure is alien, almost otherworldly, and its energy readings are off the charts. It is an imposing sight, its silhouette cutting through the darkness like an omen. The Outcast's pulse quickens. They have encountered many things in their time, but this is something else. Something far beyond the realm of the Aeldari, or the Imperium, or any of the other galactic powers they have come across. This ship, this presence, is unlike anything they have ever seen. It is old, ancient even, but there is something about it that feels alive. "Who are you?" The Outcast mutters under their breath, their eyes locked onto the strange vessel on the monitor. "What is this?" The answer comes quickly, but not from the ship. It is a voice, soft at first, echoing across the comms. It is not the same voice from the warp, nor is it any other voice the Outcast has heard before. This voice is calm, even serene, but there is an undeniable weight to it, a power that hums beneath every word. "You seek something, Outcast," the voice says, its tone both reassuring and distant, like the whisper of a distant memory. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to find it? The Outcast's heart skips a beat, their mind racing as they try to process the voice's meaning. This is no mere alien vessel. It is something far more profound, something that seems to know them, or at least knows their purpose. And the question it asks is as old as the stars themselves. What are you willing to sacrifice? The ship draws closer, its massive form looming larger on the monitor. The Outcast can feel it now, the weight of something ancient and powerful bearing down upon them. This is not a force to be trifled with, and they realize, with a start, that they have crossed a threshold, one they cannot turn back from. The galaxy is full of dangers, but there are also strange, unfathomable forces at play, powers that no one can understand. And now, it seems, the Outcast is being pulled into the orbit of one such power. "Come," the voice calls again, its tone soft but insistent. "Come and learn the price of power." With a sense of inevitability, the Outcast guides the ship closer to the strange vessel, their heart beating in their chest, their mind swirling with uncertainty. The galaxy is vast, but it is also a place of countless mysteries. Some answers are more dangerous than others. The question now is whether they are ready to face whatever lies ahead. The ship docks with the mysterious vessel, and the Outcast steps onto the unknown. A new chapter in their journey has begun, one that will lead them down a path of unimaginable power and peril. The moment the Outcast steps aboard the alien vessel, they are overwhelmed by the sheer strangeness of it. The ship's interior is a labyrinth of dark, organic shapes, its walls seemingly grown rather than built, curving and twisting like the roots of some ancient tree. The very air hums with a strange energy and the faint scent of something alien. A combination of old stone and strange incense fills the Outcast's nostrils. The lighting is dim, almost spectral, casting elongated shadows that seem to shift and sway with a life of their own. The Outcast's boots make no sound on the soft alien flooring, and they move cautiously, their senses heightened as they traverse this otherworldly space. Every corner of this vessel seems to pulse with an ancient energy, as though the ship itself is alive, watching, waiting. And though the voice from the comms had called them here, they cannot shake the feeling that they have stepped into a place where even the stars dare not tread. The air grows heavier the deeper they go, a weight pressing against their chest, but the Outcast doesn't turn back. They cannot afford to. Not now. The voice, distant yet all-encompassing, continues to echo in their mind. What are you willing to sacrifice to find it? The question weighs heavily on their heart, and for the first time in their life, the Outcast is forced to confront the true cost of their survival. They have survived the fall of their people. They have wandered the stars in exile, hunted by the very galaxy that once celebrated their power. But at what cost? What is the price of being an outcast, of being left to wander in the shadows of a once great civilization? As they round a corner, they encounter a figure, tall, clad in flowing robes that seem to shimmer with an ethereal light. The figure's features are hidden beneath a hood, their face obscured in shadow. Despite the silence, the outcast feels the figure's presence as if it were a physical force, their gaze cutting through the air like a blade. "You have come," the figure says, their voice calm and resonant, like the sound of an ancient bell tolling in the distance. The question is, what are you willing to give? The outcast stands still for a moment, their breath caught in their throat. The figure is not human, not Aeldari, not anything the outcast has seen before. They exude an aura of something other, something far beyond their understanding. The outcast knows that this being holds power, knowledge, and secrets they cannot yet comprehend. "What do you want from me?" the outcast asks, their voice steady despite the uncertainty gnawing at them. The figure steps forward, their movements graceful but deliberate. "What we want is not so simple," they say. "You seek power, but power always comes at a price. Survival has a cost. Everything you do, every choice you make, has a consequence. Do you understand this?" The outcast clenches their fists, a wave of frustration. rising within them. I've paid the price. I've lost everything. What more could there be to lose? The figure tilts their head slightly, as though considering the outcast's words. Perhaps you have lost much, but you are not yet lost. There is still more to be given, more to be taken, and what you seek, what you truly seek, will demand more than you can imagine. A shiver runs down the outcast's spine. They've come too far to turn back now. The answers they seek, the knowledge, the power to rebuild what was lost, are within reach. But at what cost? The figure steps aside, gesturing for the outcast to follow. Come, you will see. But remember this. The price of survival is always more than just blood. It is more than just flesh. It is your soul, your essence, that is truly at stake. The outcast hesitates for a moment, then moves forward. There is no turning back now. The choice has already been made, and there is no safe path left to follow. They pass through a series of twisting corridors, the ship's dark, organic structure wrapping around them like the folds of a dream. Every step seems to take them deeper into the unknown, and the air grows colder, heavier, as if they are being pulled into the heart of some ancient, forgotten power. At last, they come to a large chamber. The walls are lined with strange symbols, ancient carvings that seem to shift and writhe as if alive. In the center of the room stands a large, dark crystal, its surface covered in pulsating runes that seem to resonate with a strange energy. The outcast can feel the power radiating from it, a force so ancient and overwhelming that it nearly knocks the breath from their lungs. This is the heart of the power you seek, the figure says quietly. This is what will allow you to rebuild, to find the answers you have been seeking. But to tap into it, to harness it, will demand a sacrifice, one that you must decide. The outcast steps closer to the crystal, their mind spinning with the weight of the decision before them. The power to change the course of their people's fate is within reach, but it is not without cost. The figure had warned them. Everything comes with a price. They stretch out a hand, the warmth of the crystal's energy pulsating against their skin, the sense of something ancient, something primordial, stirring within them. The outcast's breath quickens. They have come this far, through the trials, the pain, and the loss. But now, as they stand before the crystal, they must decide. Will they accept the price, whatever it may be, in order to survive? Or will they turn away from the power that promises to reshape their destiny? The answer is not clear, but one thing is certain. The outcast's survival has come at a price, and it is one they will not escape so easily. The cost of rebuilding, of reclaiming what was lost, is far greater than they had ever imagined. And as they reach out to claim their future, they can only wonder what part of themselves they will leave behind. The moment the outcast's hand touches the dark crystal, a jolt of energy surges through their entire body. It is not a sensation of pain, but of profound sensation, of being pulled into something greater, something far older than the stars themselves. The crystal pulses beneath their fingers, and the outcast feels the weight of the galaxy pressing in on them, as if the entire universe is watching. For a brief instant, they are no longer just a lone traveler in the vastness of space. They are something more, something connected to the very fabric of reality itself. The crystal's power flows through their veins like fire, igniting every nerve in their body, filling them with visions, flashes of the past, the present, and the future. They see the rise of their people, the Aeldari, flourishing in the glory of their empire, mastering the warp and the webway, bending the galaxy to their will. They feel the weight of their ancestors' knowledge, their wisdom, their greatness. But then, as quickly as it comes, the vision shifts and the fall begins. The reckless pursuit of excess, the indulgence of desires that led to the creation of Slaanesh. The souls of the Aeldari consumed, their civilization shattered in an instant, leaving only ruin in its wake. And then there is silence. The visions cease, and the outcast stands alone in the chamber, the weight of what they have seen pressing down on them. The power of the crystal is still humming within them, a constant reminder of the price they have just paid. Their heart beats faster as they try to process the images that have flooded their mind, the destruction, the despair, the endless suffering of their people. But amidst the wreckage of their people's fall, there is a flicker of something else, a glimmer of hope, a chance to rebuild. The figure steps forward, their voice soft but firm. You have felt it, haven't you? The power of the crystal, the knowledge it holds, the power to change the course of history. But with that power comes a cost. You are no longer just an outcast. You are something more. And that, too, has a price. The outcast pulls their hand away from the crystal, the connection severed. They stand still for a moment, trying to catch their breath, trying to make sense of what they have just experienced. The visions were overwhelming, and they still feel the weight of the knowledge they have gained. But they also feel something else, something they had not expected. The power of the crystal has changed them. They are not the same as they were when they first entered this vessel. What have I become? The outcast whispers, their voice trembling. What is this power? What is this price? The figure looks at them with a knowing expression, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. You are more than just a survivor now. You have touched the very heart of the galaxy. The power you've just unlocked is not something you can control easily. It will call to you, shape you, demand that you make choices that others would shy away from. You will no longer be just a wanderer. You will become a force, one that can either rebuild the Aeldari or push them further into the darkness. The outcast's mind reels, their heart pounding in their chest. They had come seeking knowledge, seeking a way forward for their people, but the cost of that knowledge is far higher than they could have ever imagined. They now carry within them the weight of an entire civilization's history, and the power to shape its future. But with that power comes responsibility, and with that responsibility comes sacrifice. The figure steps back, their form blending into the shadows, their voice fading as they speak once more. What will you do with this power? Will you use it to forge a new path for the Aeldari, or will you allow the past to consume you? The choice is yours, outcast. But remember, nothing in this galaxy comes without a price. The outcast stands in the silence, the weight of the crystal's power still thrumming in their chest. The galaxy is vast, filled with both opportunity and danger, and the path ahead is uncertain. But one thing is clear: they can never return to the person they were before. They have crossed a threshold, and there is no going back. They are now a part of something much larger, something that could change the fate of their people, or destroy them completely. The outcast looks out across the chamber, their gaze distant, their mind racing. The price of survival has been paid. The price of power is yet to be determined. They take a deep breath, the weight of the galaxy pressing on their shoulders. The journey ahead will not be easy, but it is one they must walk. And no matter the cost, they will face it, for their people, for their legacy, for their future. The stars await.